The storm had returned. Outside, the wind howled against the walls of the old cabin like some ancient beast trying to claw its way inside. Snow flurried in chaotic, dancing spirals, coating the windows in thick frost. Inside, Elijah Wolfe sat in his worn armchair by the fireplace, the only warmth for miles. He hadn't had a visitor in years, not since the accident on Earth that took his wife and son. He'd volunteered for a solitary homesteading mission on Aurealis 3, a terraformed world no one really cared about. A quiet planet with long winters and even longer silences. That was what he wanted. No one to talk to. No one to lose again. The only sounds now were the crackling fire and the occasional ping of ice hitting the solar-powered shielding dome outside. Elijah sipped the last of his synthesized tea and leaned back, ready to lose himself in another night of stillness. Then he heard it. Thump. He froze. Another thump. Louder. Closer. Elijah stood, heart racing. The sound was impossible. Nothing lived out here. There were no native predators, no people, no animals that ventured this deep into the white wasteland. Thump, thump, thump. A weak knock on the cabin's reinforced door. He grabbed the plasma rifle from above the fireplace and cautiously stepped forward, pulse hammering against his ribs. As he reached the door, he heard a muffled voice, barely audible. Please help." His hand froze over the scanner. It was a girl's voice. A young girl. The security panel blinked at him, waiting for a command. Against every instinct, Elijah deactivated the locks and swung the door open. And there she was, barely standing, covered in frost, her pale purple skin flushed with dark blue veins. Her arms trembled. She collapsed into his arms without another word. Middle. He carried her inside and laid her near the fire. She was so light. Her body temperature was dropping fast, her breathing shallow. She had 4 fingers on each hand, small horns peeking from a mop of tangled silver hair, and a glowing crystal embedded in the center of her chest, cracked and flickering. Elijah wrapped her in thermal blankets and ran every scan he had. The cabin's basic med drone hovered nearby, beeping with alarm. "She's got internal damage. Organ decay. Possible crystal failure," it chirped. "Species, unknown. Prognosis. Fatal without crystal replacement or regeneration." "Can we stabilize her?" he asked. The drone buzzed. "Unlikely." But he tried anyway. 4 hours, Elijah worked through the night, regulating her vitals, feeding her oxygen, applying thermal stimulants. He had no reason to care, yet couldn't walk away. Around dawn she stirred. Her golden eyes opened, dazed, filled with pain. "Where am I?" she whispered. "You're safe," Elijah replied gently. "I'm Elijah. You knocked on my door. I remember. I was running. They killed my people. I had nowhere else to go." She winced, reaching for the flickering crystal on her chest. "I'm Saya." He placed a warm hand over hers. "You're not dying here, Saya. Not while I can help." Over the next several days, Elijah nursed her back from the edge. He learned she was a Valari, a biosymbiotic species whose life essence was tied to the luminous core in their chest, a living crystal unique to each individual. Saya had been aboard a refugee ship that crashed in the northern hemisphere, far from any colonies. She was the only survivor. "I didn't think anyone would open the door," she admitted one evening, curled near the fire with a mug of broth. "You're kind, humans. They don't usually help us." "I'm not like most people," Elijah muttered. He hadn't smiled in years. But something about her, the way she asked about everything from his old books to his music recordings, broke through the walls he'd built. One morning, Saya noticed the old family photo on the mantel. A woman and a little boy with the same dark eyes as Elijah. "You had a family," she said quietly. He nodded. "They were everything. Until they weren't. I guess I came here to escape the ghosts." Saya reached out and touched his hand. "You're not alone anymore." He didn't say anything, but that night, for the first time in years, he dreamt of something other than silence. Weeks passed. The storm finally broke. Under the alien sun, Saya walked the icy plains with Elijah, wrapped in thermal layers, her laughter echoing in the empty skies. Her crystal still flickered faintly, but she grew stronger with every passing day. Then came the drone. It arrived silently, a sleek black observer unit from the coalition forces orbiting Borealis 3. Elijah spotted it first and pulled Saya inside. "They're scanning," he said. "If they see you." She backed away, trembling. "They'll take me. Run test. Rip the core from my chest." That's what they did to the others. Elijah slammed the door shut and activated the dampeners to hide her heat signature. "I won't let them take you." But it was too late. Hours later, a coalition scout ship landed a few clicks from the cabin. Soldiers in white armor began sweeping the area. Saya looked up at him, eyes wide. "I should go. I don't want you to get hurt because of me." "No. Elijah, please. You changed everything. You reminded me what it feels like to care. To be alive. I won't lose anyone else." She fell into his arms, shaking. "Then run with me. Please." Ending. Elijah dug out an old survival crawler from the snowdrift beside his cabin. With some fast reprogramming, he disabled the coalition's tracking pings. He and Saya set out under cover of dusk, heading toward the southern valleys, an ancient Valari ruin Saya had seen in her dreams. She believed there might be something there to heal her crystal. Pursuit came fast. Drones swept the sky. Gunships scanned with blinding lights. At one point, Elijah took a blast in the shoulder, protecting Saya. He bled but kept driving. "Almost there," he gasped, pain sharpening his focus. "Just hang on." The ruin was real. A towering stone monolith pulsed with a forgotten power, hidden beneath crystalline vines. As they entered, the air shifted, the structure humming in resonance with Saya's core. She stepped forward, face illuminated by the light. "This place. It's where my ancestors bound our souls to the stars." The altar at the center responded to her touch. Her cracked crystal glowed brighter. Then it shattered. "Elijah!" she screamed. But instead of collapsing, her body absorbed the altar's energy. Light poured into her, knitting her wounds, healing her from the inside out. When the glow faded, Saya stood renewed, stronger, radiant. She turned and saw Elijah on the floor. His wound had worsened and he was pale. "No, no, you're not dying." She pressed her glowing palm to his chest. The light spread through him. His pain ebbed. His breathing steadied. The wound sealed. What did you do?" he whispered. Saya smiled, tears glistening. "I gave you what you gave me. A second chance." They left Borealis. 3 weeks later aboard a stolen scout ship. The coalition believed the planet inhospitable and abandoned their search. Together they disappeared into the stars. Word spread in the underground refugee networks of a man named Elijah Wolf, the human who'd defied the coalition and saved a dying alien girl. Some called it myth. Others called it madness. But those who knew it was the start of something new. A lonely man who once opened his door to death had instead opened it to life, love, and a future beyond pain.